When Darth Maul confronted Jedi Master Qui-Gon Jinn, the Sith revealed themselves to the Jedi for the first time since Darth Bane implemented his grand plan roughly 1,000 years prior. Although Qui-Gon was able to escape from his duel with Maul, this reemergence of the Sith ultimately culminated in the successful completion of Bane's grand plan, resulting in the outright annihilation of the Jedi Order and Republic and the rise of the Galactic Empire under the rule of Darth Sidious. But the Sith's plan to gather power and strength in secret, outside of the view of the Jedi, was almost compromised by a pair of Sith Lords within the lineage of Darth Bane's rule of two, as they almost unintentionally and prematurely revealed themselves to the Jedi decades prior to Darth Maul's duel with Qui-Gon Jinn. In this video expose, I will describe how a little-known Dark Lord of the Sith and his apprentice Darth Tenebrous, the latter of which would go on to become the master of Darth Plagueis, opened a hole in the Force and caused a disturbance that allowed the Jedi to become aware of the presence of the dark side of the Force for the first time in 800 years, at a time when the Jedi believed the Sith to be extinct, thereby potentially threatening the grand plan of the Sith that had been progressing undetected for roughly 8 centuries. To understand the seriousness for the Sith of Darth Tenebrous and his master opening a rift in the Force, it is necessary to understand how this act jeopardized the Sith's grand plan that was put in place by Darth Bane, underpinned by his rule of two, wherein the Sith would gather strength in the shadows outside of the knowledge of the Jedi Order. Following the final battle of the New Sith Wars, the Seventh Battle of Ruusan, taking place roughly 1,000 years before the events of A New Hope, Darth Bane was able to take advantage of a situation in which the Sith's Brotherhood of Darkness's leader, Lord Khan, desperately unleashed a thought bomb during the battle that eradicated every Force-sensitive individual within the blast radius. The thought bomb had the effect of destroying every member of the Sith and caused the Jedi Order to wrongly presume that every last Sith had been wiped out, giving the Jedi and the Republic the appearance that they had come out of the New Sith Wars with a complete victory. However, Darth Bane survived the Seventh Battle of Ruusan, and through his careful foresight and manipulations, the Jedi were unaware of his existence as planned by Bane. As a Dark Lord of the Sith who didn't exist, Darth Bane was free to pursue his grand plan to destroy the Jedi Order and the Republic, and position the Sith to rule the galaxy, primarily through the mechanism of his philosophy of the Rule of Two, wherein the Sith would gather strength in secret and grow more powerful as the cycle of a single master passing down their knowledge to a single apprentice who would ultimately take their place was continued. Ultimately, when the Sith were powerful enough, they would challenge the Jedi openly, thereby revealing themselves to the galaxy. Outside of the destruction and setbacks caused by the Dark Lord of the Sith, Darth Gravid, Darth Bane's Rule of Two progressed forward successfully in secret from the Jedi in the galaxy for roughly 800 years. However, the crucial aspect of secrecy in regards to the success of the Grand Plan was almost overturned through the actions of Darth Tenebrous and his master. Darth Tenebrous was a male Bith who was a Sith within the lineage of Darth Bane, and therefore an adherent to the Rule of Two. Darth Tenebrous would go on to become a Dark Lord of the Sith himself, and master to the master of Darth Sidious, Darth Plagueis. Not much is known about Tenebrous's master, other than the fact that they were a Twi'lek who died at the hands of his apprentice Tenebrous in line with the Baneite system, roughly 167 years before the events of A New Hope. However, Darth Plagueis did credit both Darth Tenebrous and his master as having done the most to advance and improve upon Darth Bane's grand plan in relation to what preceding masters and apprentices had accomplished. We also know how Darth Tenebrous came to view the Force as a result of his master's relentless onus that he put upon Tenebrous to study the Force, which is of importance for the purposes of this video. Darth Tenebrous, an individual who became master of scientific endeavors and who contained a significant intellect, developed an obsession with shaping the future and came to hold the belief that the Force was nothing more than a source of energy that he could manipulate to bring about his goals. Although we don't know exactly how Darth Tenebrous and his master opened a rift in the Force, it is very likely that it was done through their attempts to manipulate the Force. This is because we know that at one time Tenebrous and his master attempted to develop a virus that would detach the Jedi's connection to the Force, a plan that ultimately ended in failure despite the two Sith Lords spending years attempting to develop the virus. Further, we know that Darth Tenebris at one point successfully developed a retrovirus that transformed his midichlorians into maxichlorians, which were midichlorians that would survive after Tenebris's death instead of integrating back into the Force. Therefore, we know that Darth Tenebris and his master were vigorously interested in manipulating the Force, an interest that was further passed down to Tenebris's apprentice, Darth Plagueis, who also attempted to make significant manipulations of the Force. During the reign of Darth Tenebris's master as Dark Lord of the Sith, the Master and Tenebris created a wound in the Force, also known as a hole in the Force, that allowed the Jedi to sense and become consciously aware of the dark side of the Force for the first time in 800 years. That is, for the first time since the Jedi Order believed that the Sith were destroyed at the end of the new Sith Wars. For roughly 800 years, Darth Bane's grand plan was able to remain hidden and undetected by the Jedi, just as Bane had wanted and knew was necessary. However, this wound in the Force opened by the Dark Lord of the Sith and his apprentice Darth Tenebris could have easily threatened Bane's grand plan, as in sensing a return of the dark side, the Jedi could have easily concluded that the Sith had returned, given the fact that the Sith were the primary practitioners of the dark side. The Jedi could sense the dark side through the wound in the Force created by Darth Tenebris and his master, as it created a disturbance that cast echoes outward through space that could be sensed by individuals who were adept at using the Force. The tremors that were created as a result of opening up this wound in the Force sent reverberations across the galaxy that were ultimately sensed by the Jedi. Fortunately for the Sith, the Jedi did not uncover the Sith's grand plan to destroy the Jedi Order and the Republic, as it wasn't until Darth Maul's confrontation with Qui-Gon Jinn that the Jedi were sure that the Sith had once again returned to the galaxy. So there we go. How the Sith almost prematurely revealed themselves to the Jedi and almost compromised the grand plan that had been established by Darth Bane. We love making these videos, so why not subscribe for more fun Star Wars theories and discussions? Also, if you enjoyed the video, think about giving a like or leaving a comment. If not for me, for Sith Twi'leks.